Okay, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Mixon back once again, and another week, another live stream. This week we're breaking down a Kid Cudi type beat for you guys. So yeah, with this beat, we used a lot of like like this guitar plugin that I'm gonna go into. I'm gonna break down some of that and like what that's like all about and all that fun stuff. I'm also gonna kind of go into like, you know, how to make melodies with guitars, how that's different, like what you need to do for that, give you some secret sauce on that. And then yeah, kind of talk about how I like do like counter melodies, counter chords, just to like spice things up a little bit. I'm gonna go into like a little bit of the philosophy of like how a Kid Cudi beat's kind of made, how you want your samples to be like lined up, different like mixing techniques that we got in this beat, and like why I chose to do those. So if you haven't done one of these videos with me before, if you haven't watched, so this is a beat breakdown for a type beat that I made over the past week. So we do live Instagram voting every Thursday from like right around 6 in the morning to 6 in the morning the next day in that specific time. So Thursday to Friday that we do the voting and I tally it all up. And this is the one that won. This one pulled away late. I'll say this, like I thought for sure the Shoreline Mafia beat was gonna take off and be the one, but you guys picked this one. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it gives me a lot more to talk about with this beat. So there's a lot of cool stuff to get into with this. But like I said, it pulled away late. Your vote does matter. It's always decided by like a couple of votes going into the Instagram voting. So if you're on my YouTube, just know if you're like commenting down in my YouTube, I don't really like count that as part of the voting. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and give me like all your votes. That's how I'm gonna like go through with this always. So today I'm wearing a jersey. That's because my Indiana Hoosiers are playing today. They looked pretty good last week, so I hope they can keep going. What college team do you guys root for? Put that in the chat down below. Let me know what you guys think and like what you guys just like favorite thing is. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into this thing. So today, I'm gonna be breaking down this Kid Cudi type beat for you guys. Um, so let's see. So the first thing I'll kind of go into is with guitar plugins, right? So this one is a great free plugin, and I'll include this in the chat at the end of the video. So it's called ESW Vinyl Guitar, so Echo Soundworks, and I think the only thing you have to do is you have to sign up for their emailing list, and then you get it for free. Um, but it's a cool one. Like this, so there's like multiple sounds that are in it, right? You've got like a lo-fi guitar, 12 string guitar, like vinyl guitar 1 and 2. I really like this first one. It sounds kind of cool. Pretty good for like making different guitar melodies, I would say. Um, then there's other guitars, right? So like we've got I think it's let's see the ample guitar Lite. This one is an acoustic guitar one that just kind of like uh, I'll load it up here for you guys. So this one is like great for like strumming chords. And it's good. It's a good thing for that. And it's like you kind of like so with that, it's got like different strumming techniques in it. As you can see, it's got like a strummer that you can just pick your own chords. And I think this one's kind of cool. I didn't use it for this beat, but like you can choose a lot of different things. And I'm just gonna like kind of like break down some of my favorite ones. So you can change the time signature when you want the chords to go, like what like pattern you want them to follow, um, like how hard you want it to hit, and like all kinds of different things. And then so you can choose between like a finger picking or like plucked like this with a guitar pick. And I think the guitar pick just shows that it's like strumming. And this is like really great if you're like trying to like make like a natural sounding guitar, different stuff like that. Or if you're trying to go for like something like that's just like I don't know, like just a little bit different. with like that, or if you want to go just to like here. Let's see. Oh, this is like loading in as the different. Okay. So like that's the, I guess that's one thing with it. So it just kind of like is a little finicky with like when you switch to strummer. So I'll turn that off. So it's like a little bit more of a natural acoustic guitar. Pretty much anything that you can get from like Ample is pretty good, and like this is completely free. So these are like a couple of free plugins. I'll drop them in the chat, so like I'll make sure I like put like a link to each one of these so you can get them. But yeah, like there's the Ample guitar. Then I think it's the DSK dynamic guitar. Yeah. And this one's like it's cool because it's got like a lot more like different stuff. Like you can like go get that more nylon sounding. Yeah, so it's a pretty good one. And then like you can adjust the attack on it, the decay, how much reverb you want on it. So like just kind of a nice like you know, nice little plug-in that's there. But the one that I went for this particular beat was this ESW. And like I said, they got like a bunch of samples. So like that's the main thing that's different about this one. It's got a lot of different samples, and this is a good one for like an acoustic sound. And it's not too like, you know, synthy or like anything like that with this particular preset. But then it's got like all these different ones, right? So it's got some interesting sounds that are like a little like out there. So it's got like I said, it's not just a guitar. It's supposed to be like more of a guitar plug-in, I would say. Um, but then there's the ample bass, like I showed before, and or not ample bass, but ample guitar. Um, yeah, so like ESW, DSK, and then the ample guitar. So those are the different sounds that I've like kind of like got here. Let's see here. Let's pick the vinyl guitar again. It doesn't seem to want to go back. So let me play this beat for you guys. Just want to do like a quick introduction to like different guitars. Like, you know, that might be something somebody wants to see first. So it's like when you're picking a plug-in, a guitar plug-in, just like kind of like what type of sound are you trying to go for? I was trying to go for like a dark guitar that sounded somewhat natural. But like it doesn't have to be like over the top natural. It just like I want it to sound like a really cool, unique guitar. So what I did with this is like I strummed these chords and then like put like an arpeggio on it. But first I'll introduce the beat before I get too far ahead of myself. So here's what the beat sounded like. This is Kid Cudi Type Beat. Yeah, okay, so that's what the beat sounds like in case you forgot. So I'll first break down these chords. So right? So those are like some good guitar dark chords, right? So with this one, I put this in the key of G minor. So I wanted to like make sure that I like played it like how a guitar would play it, right? So like whenever you're going into a guitar, right, you want to like make sure you're hitting all the right notes. So I'm gonna pull up something here for you guys, so you can kind of like see what I'm talking about. Um, so when you're getting the notes right with a guitar, you want to make sure, like, if this is the G minor chord, you want to hit, because, you know, guitar's got 6 strings, so you need to hit all 6 of those strings to make it sound like that, and like it's nice to like make sure that you got the strumming right. So I'll say this like so it goes G D G B flat D G, and then it's like that so on and so forth with all the rest of the chords. So you want to make sure that you're hitting all of those notes. So I've got G, B flat, D, and G, and I like have the root bass note right there. And like what I did to like really like humanize these chords, right? Because they don't sound like, oh, they're just stacked. Because if they were stacked, not quite perfect, right? You hear the difference? So how I got that to happen, it's a nice feature in FL. You can click the tools and then you go to strum. So strum or alt S, and then you can like edit the tension, and then that like pushes it one way or the other. You can choose to preserve the end or to not. And in this case, I chose not to because it like for me it sounds like how this guitar is like meant to be played. It's meant to bleed it over into that, and then it just made it sound like more of a natural guitar sound when I like overlapped it as opposed to making it very stacked. Um, and the reason that like I followed this pattern, I think it's just a one. So C, E, G. So I think this is one, then E. So it's 1 4 5, I think. Yeah, 1 4 5 progression with this, and so like I had the one be the like much longer piece of it, so it's the root. Then I kind of like brought it in with the fourth and the fifth, so it's still like a tonic chord here, but it's just making it like it's different. It just sounds like it's progressing, and then like the like fifth becomes the perfect fifth transition into the first, and that's how we kind of like move throughout this beat. And I think I jumped all the way up to six here at the end just to make it a little extra different. Um, because you generally want to end with a tonic chord just to kind of like put it all together. But this like creates like a tension, which like resolves right away. But like this one like makes the tension less like I guess it's like less there. So like it's the end of the phrase more or less. So I guess like the secret sauce of this video, right, is really just like keeping in mind that you want to like strum your guitar, or like it's like same with any chord that you're trying to make it sound like a natural instrument. Make sure you hit the strum. So Alt S, if you just got like stacked chords, then you want to like switch that up because it's just gonna make it sound too like fake, and like because like when it sounds fake, like you sometimes you want it to sound fake. Like I'm pretty sure in this same thing, I have like stacked chords here that are all just like all the same velocity, all the same thing, but that's just because it was a synth and I want it to sound that way. And now like the other piece of this, like I was just getting into, so like the velocity I have, it's like all kind of like switched around. So a way you can like do this, if you're like not like comfortable with like playing keys on the piano, like how I am, then you want to like you just like drawing it in. That's fine. You can like make it sound natural. So you can make the strum happen, and then you can go into I think it's the randomize tool. So like that's Alt R, and you can just have the velocity just be edited. So like you like randomize like how the velocity's hitting, and yeah, like I mean like it like randomizes notes too. There's a lot of cool things within that tool. But like with the randomized tool, right, you have like editing the velocities. You can see down below here that it like pushed it all over the place. Um, so you can really humanize it by doing all of that, and you can really like make this thing kind of just sound like more of a guitar. Because like if I didn't say, hey, this is a guitar here, like, this is like a fake synth guitar, you might not have known. So like that's how you kind of like can like play off of that. It just like so you can make the if you just don't feel comfortable doing that, just draw them in as the one chord with all the notes you got to hit with the guitar, and putting it all together. That's how you kind of like can do that. Now to like make it even more intriguing over the top, I did an arpeggio of the chords and just edited the velocity of that. And so you could even have done that from the randomizer arpeggio. But like I drew this one in on my own and then edited the velocity so it could like have a nice wavy bounce all the way through. So it's like it made it sound supernatural. And then like all of the notes, they're like standard, but then they're like jumping to like different places at certain times just to bring it back down. Because like if it's just still going like an up down standard, you would go from here back to here, and that doesn't necessarily sound good for like what I was trying to do. I was just trying to get it to like repeat a couple times for the phrase and then like go down like that just to make it unique for this particular song. And like sometimes it's like good to just go up and then down, and sometimes it sounds better just not doing that and just going up the whole time. So arpeggios are just very different. But with this arpeggiated guitar, it kind of gives more of a dark feel. And then obviously this sample, this G minor chop comes from, let me pull out the file system. Let me appear that in the folder. I think I might have like chopped this up in my own way actually a little bit. Yeah, I did. I'm just gonna search for it. So let's see here. Royalty. Yeah, so I think I like, yeah. Yeah, so with this one, I took the one, it's a cymatic sample. So I'm gonna drag this in for a second just to kind of like show how I sampled. So it's not in the right time, right? So I just drag this time out to, I think, 8 bars. You can see at the top left there. So it's at 8 bars now. And I like wanted to like play it at G instead of G sharp. So I like clicked the root note here as G sharp and played it. So like now it's what you hear, right? And that's how I kind of chopped that one together. So that's a cymatic sample. You can get that. Oh, I wanted to show you where to find it. It's in the Lucid Vocal Sample Pack, and I believe this is actually a free one. So if you want to like try this one out too, go by all means go search it on their website. But yeah, so that's the cymatics loop sample there, and then I like chopped it up with my own sauce, kind of like edited it so that it would sound darker, and then just by like doing some simple EQ, and I'll get into that later, a little bit later, So yeah, all the stuff together. Oh, I can't forget this. So this is just an Omnisphere preset. Let's see. Click it open. It'll be nice. It's just in memoriam, so this is a bell that's used in a lot of like different songs. It's just like a really retro bell. But yeah, it just follows this pattern. And as a chord, I kind of felt that it was just very so Kid Cudi to me, like kind of like Man on the Moon vibes with that. with that bell, it just sounds like, I mean, it just sounds like that dark Kid Cudi, like sad Kid Cudi dark vibe. And with this, so like this vocal sample, this vocal chop, I really like this just because it kind of sounded like a trumpet. But I think actually in like a couple of weeks or so, I might like actually like make my own thing, and I might do a video of just how to recreate sounds from a sample to like Omnisphere. So I might talk about that in a future week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So yeah, all the melodies together sound like this. Okay, and then now I'll play all the drums together. Okay, so all together, that's what the drums sound like. And then I kind of just got all of these from a TrackLib sample pack for the most part, minus the open hat. And then I guess like, yeah, a couple of the one shots here come from just they're all from the TrackLib sample pack. One of them is like this drums by night sample pack, so you can get that on TrackLib. And then the World of One Shots is the other one that it comes from. So yeah, let me start off by talking about the hi-hats here. At least the first hi-hats. Pretty standard. Does my like regular typical bounce where it like goes up, down, up, down, up, down with the velocity just to keep that like typical bounce, and it's like it just gives it a nice little feel to it for me. Then we got a snare here or a clap, and that's nothing new. Just put the velocity up on it from like what it normally is, just because it needed it to hit harder. Kick, and that's just like a pattern that I like to do. The boom, 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 boom. I think that one like a pattern is like pretty typical for hip hop, at least with my beats. And then I just crank the velocity up. That's typically what I do with my kicks to get them to hit harder. I also just, you know, use other stuff to make it go as well. Then we'll go here. Yeah, this is just like an accent off of the clap. And then here. So this one is a backup snare or hi-hat. Nope, it's not the drum. Get to. So because it's like got that extra like click on it, it gives it another like it plays off of it nice. Gives it like way more of a bounce, like almost like a ticking clock that's got like a little reverb and delay on it. So that's why I really like that. With the bass, I followed the kick pattern pretty religiously, and then just followed the the bass notes. Of the chords that were in the guitar. So that's usually what I do with that. If I've like made any kind of sample or any kind of like instrumentation, I just try to follow that with my bass notes. It just makes it very easy, so you don't have to do that. Or if you like want to follow a lead and make your bass interesting, that's usually typically a good thing to do too. Then I got a crash here, and then an open hat at the end of the first 4 bars, or it's a ride, and then regular open hat pattern right here. Okay. Nothing like too crazy with those. Those just hit like on the off beats, but twice instead of like going all 4 in a row, like how I might do sometimes. I just wanted that to like bounce twice just to give it more of a flair and bounce altogether. Yeah, so I'm going to play the drums out once again, and then we'll wrap this up. yeah, so that's how the drums all line up together. Now with the whole track, you've got like a, nice Kid Cudi beat. There's like certain things that make it like that. I think it's like I think the claps really like when they're like kind of like muffled make it like very Kid Cudi, like especially Man on the Moon 3, like definitely like was an inspiration for this. I'll say too, like going with like a dark guitar with like this, I think this loyalty vocal chop that I have really is like what made it that next level of like, oh, this is definitely a Kid Cudi type beat. Um, Same thing with the like, I mean, it's just the dark melodies on top of that just really like gave this kind of vibe to me when I was making the beat. Uh, and so yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta feel it out, and then like the way that it just grooves, just like very much feels like his kind of like rhythm and like how he likes to like flow. I just it's really what it was for me. Um, so and like leaving enough space for like the artist to do that, that's another thing that can't forget about. But all right, I'm gonna play the beat out one more time, and then we'll kind of go into the song structure um, as I like went forward with it, and then we'll get into the mixing. Um, so here it goes. One, two, three. So, like I've said, with the song structure, um, I had a longer intro this time because I wanted the like guitar to build up slowly into the sample, and then when the sample was there, it's just like, oh, I'm ready for this beat to drop. This is gonna hit, and then got a nice 16 bar hook, followed by a 24 bar verse, and then another 16 bar hook with a much shorter outro where I let it just taper off after it ends. So like. But I kept all the drums in there. A lot of times I'll just play the sample out for the last piece, but I just wanted to keep the drums in there for this one. This one was hitting pretty hard. Um, Main thing that I always like to like point out is like leaving the last two bars here for the artist to really get their last phrase in for the verse, and then chopping out drums. It's like you just got to figure out what works for you. Like, okay, what sounds good to your ear. Because you gotta like, you can't just play for a beat. I mean, it's like it's been done before, obviously, but like doing this, if you want to like make a beat that like feels like it's progressing with the same melodies, just take some drums out. That's a good way to like kind of filter it through. If you want to check out the full beat, what it sounds like, go ahead. I'll like make sure to include it in this video, probably at the end screen. But yeah, now let's get into the mixing of this thing. So I'll say this, a lot of like these drums, some of them needed to be tweaked, but like because they came from the tracklib pack, these are like mixed to a certain way to give it that old school kind of like drum sample vibe. So I didn't really want to like edit these unless they like were like missing something greatly. Like the bass was missing something greatly. Um, and then like, I had to like edit the sample a little bit, and then the atmosphere was already like mixed pretty good. A lot of these like weren't like mixed too terribly bad, but like I had to like edit like the arpeggio just to make sure it had more space with like a little chorus. Um, but the first thing I'll talk about is leveling. So like leveled, like you see how it's like not everything's like at the same level, and like how you got to edit the sound, because like when you want the sound to like be there, right? You want the like chords to be like probably a forefront because they're like the backbone of the song, right? And you want your leads to be like more quiet but also loud because they're going to be the higher frequencies. They'll like appear louder than they actually are. They'll cut through a mix because they're higher frequencies. So what I did to kind of like make this the arpeggio unique is I used hyperchorus. This is a new thing that's with FL, I believe. Kind of just use whatever preset. I think this is just the default. and then I just turn it down. I think it's actually Orion's belt. Okay, so Orion belt. Oh wait, no, no, it's just the default. So like you can kind of like edit where the delay is, the feedback, all the movement and delay rates. Like I said, just sometimes using a preset's the best because you're just trying to get some chorus in there. Nothing too crazy. Um, I'll say this too, like just using a little chorus just to space it out creates some stereo separation without having to know all that knowledge, and that's just like one of my like little tips and tricks with that. Because a lot of times, I'll say this like with like the samples that you're getting like nowadays, you don't really need a lot of times. I'm not gonna say that's like, you know, perfect every time for what you need, but like most times, like I found in my ear, you don't have to do as much as you used to have to do with like some of these sample packs that you're getting now. Some of these are just polished kicks that you can just like you can edit it just to make it knock the way you want it to knock. But I don't think there's as much like compression that's as necessary anymore um, with some of the stuff. And I feel like a good leveled mix with a decent master goes a lot further than like being meticulous about how it has to be mixed. Sometimes if there's clashes, you can hear the clashes, but you know, and sometimes like certain sounds need to be boosted just to be edited. That's just kind of like my takeaway from it. Um, but yeah, uh, I'll kind of go into like the bass and here like here's what I did. I raised this higher frequency up a lot for the loyalty chop because without it, right, I'll like versus with it. So just kind of sounds bland, you know. That makes it sound like more airy and like more trumpety too, is which was what I was really going for with this thing. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I got with this one. Kind of like moved slower with the plugins because I wanted to kind of show you guys the things that I think are cool. Kind of showed you how to like make guitar chords. I spent a little bit more time on the melody with this one just because I felt like it was more of like what something I could talk about, give you guys knowledge about. Um, yeah, so I know I spent more time on that than I did on the drums this time. So maybe I'll go more into detail about drums and like why drums need to be this way next time. Um, but yeah, let me know down in the comments what kind of beats you guys are looking for the next one. What do you want to learn how to do? If there's any techniques like, hey, can you show me how to do this? Please comment down below. Maybe not even in this video or like just put it on my like community feed. Yeah, let's just, you know, let's like grow and learn together, guys. And, you know, if you got like tricks that you think, hey, I think this is actually wrong. I think this would be cool. It's like, okay, I'll like think about that. I'm pretty open with like how I like do my producing. So if you guys wanna, you know, work together, just let me know and drop it down in the comments. Let's like make something cool. Um, but all right, without further ado, guys, thank you as always. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe all down below. Really appreciate you guys watching, especially if you're watching to the end. That really means a lot to me. So keep it going. Yeah, if you got anything else, guys, be seeing you later. All right, peace. Thanks, guys.